Listen, during the first meeting, I told him I was very scared that he was going to either put me in prison or kill me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miria Matembe. She says, during the first meeting, I told him I was very scared that he was going to either put me in prison or kill me. Now, that statement should actually tell you that there was a history of Museveni of doing this, because this fear of Miria Matembe wasn't coming out of the blue. She might have witnessed some people that were opposed to some of the ideas of Museveni who were imprisoned or killed. Listen here. In his own words, Miria Matembe writes, the president swore to me that he would never put me in prison or kill me. He said, Mbwenu Matembe, buzima noti nangu ninza kuita, mbwenu hati nakula herra, taro obundi bankomere nari nkuitsire. Loosely translated as, Matembe, I give you my word. Under my watch, you'll never be arrested or killed. That's Museveni making just a normal promise. Under my watch, I'll never kill you or I'll never arrest you.
You're watching Mordecai Marissa Live Political Commentary. Please consider subscribing to help grow Uganda's Voices of Struggle ecosystem. Thank you.
I cannot appreciate you enough for using your valuable time to always go on social media, break down things for people.
And yes, indeed, broadcasting to you from these United States of the Americas. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you're watching me and at whatever time you might enjoy this conversation. I am the aforementioned Mordecai Morisa, and you're welcome to Mordecai Morisa. You guessed that right. Live. Ready? Morisa is here. Are you ready, ladies and gentlemen? Can we launch this project? Listen to that. Oh yeah, let's do this. Come on. Come on. We enjoy what we do here, like I usually tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this show? I guess you are, because I am. Tonight, we're going to be looking at this. We're going to be looking at this, ladies and gentlemen. The struggle for freedom and democracy betrayed. Mama Miria Matembe received myself a copy, I think, a few years ago. She wrote, Hi Mordecai Morisa, be blessed as you read the works of my hands. And she writes here, she says, Aluta continua, love you, Miria Matembe. I think this was 4th of August 2020 when I received myself a copy of this memoir of Miria Matembe. Ladies and gentlemen, now, you might be wondering why now. Ladies and gentlemen, you might have seen, or you know, a few weeks ago, former Ethics and Integrity Minister Miria Matembe found herself on the receiving end of the very system she once helped build. She was abducted, held in military barracks, I think it was Zimbuya military barracks, and later arraigned before court and charged over alleged sectarianism statements. Funny accusation from the Museveni criminal regime that doesn't actually engage in making these, not only making these sectarian statements, but actually practices sectarianism. So that's what we saw. But to me, this wasn't just another political arrest. It was the breaking of a promise, as I'm going to show you here. Years ago, after falling out with Museveni and leaving the NRM criminal cabal over what she described as the abandonment of the movement's democratic ideals, Miria Matembe recounted a deeply personal conversation in her memoir, this one right here, The Struggle for Freedom and Democracy Betrayed. She says, memoirs of Miria Matembe as an insider in Museveni's government. In it, she says that Museveni assured her that he would never arrest or kill her. So that was a promise that was never kept by Museveni. But as we question ourselves or we look at how Museveni really never kept this promise, take a moment and think about that, ladies and gentlemen. where somebody, your friend, your colleague, your confidant, says, I'll never kill you. What does that say about him? Who promises another human being, I'll never kill you? Who does? Isn't that by in and of itself a statement that reveals the kind of an environment they believe they are operating in? Isn't it a warning, that sign that power has become so personalized that even the right to life and liberty sounds like a favor to be granted rather than a constitutional guarantee? Museveni has to assure you, hey, I'll never kill you. How did we end up in this position? Museveni promises, I'll never kill you. Pretty much, it grants and takes life. You've sort of elevated him to a position of God. According to Matembe's own account, the promise, as we see, has now been broken. No doubt about that. That's what I'm going to be showing you, ladies and gentlemen. But before I do, I'm going to go on and show you the sectarian statements she made according to the Museveni criminal cabal. And listen, tell me, is this sectarianism? I'm going to show you there's history for that. To them, actually, I'm going to explain why they were doing it, because Matembe is a Munyankore. I am a Munyankore. Here, she never mentioned nothing sectarian.
Kati watuuse wano government eggwanga lyonna n'ateeka mu mikono ya famire ye n'aliteeka mu mikono y'amaka ge nga gafugibwa kati mutabani we bayita Muhoozi. Mwe kye mutamanyi bakazi bonna bava Nkole ba minisita bonna boolaba bonna bava mu famire ya president ya Museveni.
Abakazi bonna bava Nkole bava mu famire ya Museveni. Now, of course, you might argue and say, she wasn't right. You know why? Do you think these other women who have positions in government, do they all come from the West? I'm going to show you Museveni doesn't care about you. He will appoint you in that position. To him, it means nothing. Anyways, why don't I actually start with how Museveni views appointments or positions of leadership? Let's start from page 158. I got something. Okay, actually, let's start with her promise. Museveni's promise to her, I'll never kill you. Okay, this was, in the first meeting, Museveni had many things to say, as he once again labored to justify the removal of the presidential term limits. This is when she was opposed to the removal of term limits. I'm going to jump a few lines and read you here. And then they went on into talking about the East African integration and stuff like that. She says, I saw this as an opportunity to let him know all my thoughts and opinions on this matter. One thing I'm very happy about is that, although I parted company with Museveni, I'm going to call him Museveni, not president here, unless I remember, I had an opportunity to say all I wanted to say about what I had thought of him. Whatever I had left unsaid at the Chankwanzi meeting, I was able to let it out in those two meetings. He also knows that I was and still remain sincere about whatever I said and still say for it. It is the interest of the nation and moreover for his own good too. Listen, during the first meeting, I told him I was very scared that he was going to either put me in prison or kill me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miria Matembe. She says, during the first meeting, I told him I was very scared that he was going to either put me in prison or kill me. Now, that statement should actually tell you that there was a history of Museveni of doing this, because this fear of Miria Matembe wasn't coming out of the blue. She might have witnessed some people that were opposed to some of the ideas of Museveni who were imprisoned or killed. So that's why there was fear. Here we go. I explained that when I spoke my mind at Chankwanzi, he dropped me from the cabinet. Now that I was going to say more, what would he do if he got annoyed? Wouldn't he order for my imprisonment or for my killing? What? The President Museveni wondered why I would think so, as if he had ever killed anybody. I reminded him that he had killed people during the war in Ruwero. He responded by saying that they were at war then and that he was killing enemies. Cut the crap. That is now my editorial. It's not here. I told him that was the reason I was scared, because now I disagreed with him. I was an enemy and could be killed. He was very surprised that I was thinking that way about him. Listen here. In his own words, Miria Matembe writes, the president swore to me that he would never put me in prison or kill me. He said, Mbwenu Matembe, buzima noti nangu ninza kukwita mbwenu hati nakula herra hari obundi bankomere nari nkwitsire. Loosely translated as, Matembe, I give you my word. Under my watch, you'll never be arrested or killed. That's Museveni making just a normal promise. Under my watch, I'll never kill you or I'll never arrest you. Who does that? So she was afraid. Okay, let's go here now. Let's talk women empowerment. She writes about what Museveni thinks of women empowerment. Let's go here, page 158. Actually, before we come to that, there's a very, very important thing I want to read you before I forget. This is what Museveni thinks of people he appoints in positions of power, okay? Are you ready? Listen here, ladies and gentlemen. I got to learn over time. This is Miria Matembe, knows Museveni to the core. I got to learn over time that deep down in his heart, Museveni does not really respect institutions, nor does he respect the people he appoints or who are elected to head them. For him, it's a political game where every pawn serves a purpose for his own selfish, ulterior motives. To him, being a president is the only difficult job. He believes that all jobs, other jobs, whether ministerial or below, can be done by anyone. It is only the presidency that requires special talent and skills. He mastered the British colonial tactic of divide and rule and dishes out calculated appointments to appeal to and placate the different tribal, religious, or even gender groups. As members of the Ankole Parliamentary Caucus, pay attention. In early 2000s, we used to have meetings now and then to discuss varying topical issues in the country. On one of the specific occasions, we were shocked by some of Museveni's revelations. Our caucus, chaired by Honorable Elia Kategaya and deputized by Honorable Kahindo Tafire, was believed to be very powerful. It seems Museveni was trying to buy into that when he invited us to his Rajtula home for a talk on how the Ankole region had influenced and shaped the politics of Uganda. However, Museveni made statements like the following, and I paraphrase. Listen, this is Museveni talking, okay? This is Miria Matembe telling us what Museveni said. He said, this Kazibwe, referring to Speciosa Wandera Kazibwe, this Kazibwe, you think she's a vice president? How? What can she do? By appointing her, I kill many birds with one stone. The Basoga love me and think I am good because I have appointed one of their own as vice president. The Basoga love me and think that I am good. That is actually admitting that he believes he's not good. He's a very sick, evil, grotesque man. Oh, I appoint them to think that I am good. Like I've always told you, I do not understand how supporters of Museveni do not realize how this man hates them, to the point that he makes them think that there's nobody smarter than him who can manage the country. He's confused them, manipulated them or indoctrinated them with this idea of indispensability. Oh, I am the special one. I alone can control Uganda or lead Uganda. That is hate. But to them, they'd be like, oh, I support Museveni, is the only smart man. But this is Museveni talking. It's like, she thinks she's a vice president. Who tells her she's a vice president? Let's go here. Basoga love me and think I am good because I appointed one of their own as vice president. The Catholics support me because I have appointed a Catholic as vice president. The women, like Matembe here, are appeased and think I have done wonders because I have appointed one of their own. But surely, what can Dr. Speciosa Kazibwe do? What? He even said it in their face, to their face. It's like now Matembe thinks I care about women empowerment because I appointed one in Kazibwe. I don't care. He's never cared about any other person apart from the man he sees in the mirror every time he looks in the mirror. He goes on to say, she goes on to write, people were shocked but still laughed like they usually do in Uganda. We have a tendency of laughing even to stupid stuff. And indeed, in practical terms, can anyone remember any significant role played by Dr. Kazibwe in her capacity as a vice president? I would argue it is uh, you won't see nothing. Okay. President Museveni went on. Here's Museveni talking now. Look at J.J. Odong. Does he think he's army commander? What army does he command? He cannot even transfer a section of commander, the lowest commander. But when he goes to Teso with mounted jeeps, the people of Teso think their son has power. But where is it? He went on to talk about David Pulkor, who was the director of External Security Organization, ESO, at that time. Look at this Karamajong. Does he also think he gathers intelligence? Museveni is speaking with Banyankole, who says, oh, this is the inner sanctum of the NRM cabal. I can say all these things because I know we are of the same tribe. Do you know how dangerous, how discriminatory your mind should be? How evil you should be to come to this conclusion, where you look at the people you have appointed in different positions as nothing but pawns for you to use to play your political chess game. He goes on, does he also think he gathers intelligence? When he goes in a helicopter and it lands and Karamajong clamor to look at it, they are happy because their son is powerful. When I call him here, he tells me on one hand, Mr. President, and on the other hand, and I fail to get which hand I should take. Just hopeless. But Karamajong are very happy. This is Museveni referring to people who are serving him as hopeless. Now, imagine what he thinks of the likes of Thomas Taibwa. What's his name? Jacob Oboth. But all those people, they do not care whether they're demonized, whether they're ridiculed, whether they're called Mbwa, the names they refer to, animals that they call them dogs or insects. They don't care. Because to them, proximity to power and accumulation of wealth is everything. Honor and respect is not valuable to them. Museveni can actually tell them, lie down, and they will actually lie down without even asking. Jump, they will ask, how high, master? Sad. She goes on to write, Honorable Kazola showed up and asked, Mr. President, do you mean to say you don't have a vice president? No. Director of External Security Organization or Army Commander? Where's the government? Listen to the Museveni. Museveni laughed with that sarcastic laugh of his and told Honorable Kazola that he had gathered us all there so that he would teach us how to manage politics. This is Machiavellian. If you've not read The Prince by Nicole Machiavelli, his notes to Lorenzo de Medici, you need to read it. This is Museveni. This is his way of leadership. It is evil. It is grotesque. It is as bad as they come, this kind of politics. Okay, he had invited them to teach them how politics works. He went on to ridicule other ministers. He didn't have kind words for Honorable Ruhakana Rugunda either. Look at this, he says, quote, look at this Rugunda, just posturing, ndugu ndugu. Turabahereza amashanyarazi, meaning we shall give you electricity. Do people eat electricity? Museveni doesn't even care about service delivery to people. When he looks at politicians who are really wanting to change lives of their constituents, who are making promises they want to follow up on, Museveni is like, look at these people. He even wants to work for people. Okay. I stood up and asked the president why he appointed old people, and yet he kept complaining about their poor performance. I told the meeting that we got embarrassed while on foreign trips and these elder ministers fell asleep in meetings and we got overloaded trying to do our own work as well as represent them when they were in fact present. I mentioned the elderly people who should be retired, singling out people like Honorable Mayanja Nkanji and Honorable Kajula who had been ministers since primary school. The president looked at me and laughed, saying, you Matembe, you are just a novice in politics. When I appoint Kajula, apart from securing Bunyoro region, the whole of Rubaga, the Catholic Church, is with me. When I appoint Nkanji, Buganda and the entire Namirembe, the Protestants, rally behind me. Leave my old men alone. Let them sleep. But for me, they serve a critical purpose. Now you know why you've been seeing Moses Ali, may his soul rest in peace, still in cabinet, despite of all signs showing that he cannot serve. Because people, especially the newbie people from the Nubi tribe, they'll be like, oh, we have our own. Museveni doesn't care whether this man shits his pants or urinates or falls asleep or embarrasses himself, as long as people from the Nubi tribe are able to say, we have our own. What kind of a man is this? What a sick man. Museveni added that Moses Ali took care of the West Nile and Muslim vote. And lo and behold, when he died, guess, the Muslim community is congregating for Moses Ali, and they were thanking Museveni. And then the West Nile. It is unbelievable who Museveni is. Ladies and gentlemen, can we read further? Now, I see the videos now how many minutes? More than 20 minutes. I was going to go on and read more. But I want to tell you about Janet Museveni. You've not known Janet Museveni in this book. You know, Matembe was arrested for sectarianism statements she made. It is all in here. It dates back to when she was still working with Janet Museveni. Her meeting with Janet Museveni. If you want me to go more, make sure you share this video. Let us hit 10,000 views and I'll read more from this book. If I see, and if we don't get the 10,000, then I know, hey, that's the better way of you guys communicating to me. Be like, hey, Mordecai, we're not interested in the book of Miria Matembe, then I won't. But if you're interested, so make sure that you share it everywhere and let me see it. And then I'll tell you about Janet Kataha Museveni. Museveni, who promised Miria Matembe never to arrest her. This is what he said when Miria Matembe was limping from the hospital, from the prison. Listen. Oh, don't remember.
I could even see my sister Matembe limping into the court. When she was coming in court, she came limping. I was worried. But forgot to limp. When she was leaving court, she walked.
Very stupid. Like, I don't know where he got to this point. Well, I shouldn't even say I don't know, because he's a rebel. He came ascended to power by killing people. Like, he's very numb to lawlessness that he won't even address that Matembe. At first, Muhozi delegated or dispatched her, his jackbooted thugs, to go and abduct her. And then they couldn't get her because I think she was tipped off by a few people from the government. And then they went on to arrest two of her friends, asking them, where is she or where she was. He doesn't address that. But you know what? Museveni, launched a war to go against this kind of lawlessness and impunity, where people are abducted at the orders of power that be, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the CDF. To him, it is very okay. He's normalized that. He's even going to go on and make jokes. When rights of her confidant, former friend of, very close ally of his, are being violated, he doesn't care. Look at his stupid face. Happy about the lawlessness visited upon a citizen. Now, you might argue, let's say, if there were opposition, belonging to opposition political party, probably they would be placed for that because that's how we've been treated. It is immoral, it is illegal, it is unethical, and we shouldn't normalize it, but probably it would be understandable because we have become used to that kind of treatment, and we shouldn't. But this is former confidant, very close ally, former minister, tribe mate, but he has no friends. Look at him. If you want to learn more about this, you won't believe on Janet. Janet, let me know. My name is Mordecai Monisa. I'll be back here. I think I'm going to do some Luganda commentary about Pastor Charles Romshana, who has been trending on social media. I've seen him say some funny, stupid stuff about, the people are the ones to blame. Museveni, even if Museveni left power, things would remain the same. I'm going to do some commentary about him. Please stick around. Make sure that you come back later today, and you'll enjoy it. See ya.
Did you enjoy what you just watched?
I'm sure they did.
I'm going to guess that you did. How about you consider subscribing to Mordecai Marissa Live YouTube channel? Thank you.